Good morning, everybody. How are you? Welcome to HAL Sparks Mondays, Mega Worldwide. It's the morning show, and I normally just call it that. Mornings Mega World. Oh, look, the camera's tilted the wrong way. Hold on. Oh, that's still too far. Yeah, the level of professionalism. There's still a little like gap over there, but who cares? Anyways, good morning. I usually call the show HAL Sparks Mornings Mega Worldwide, but I'm just going with Mondays right now because it's very Monday. It's more Monday for some people than for others, so there's that, and I don't mind. I also spent all day yesterday, well, a good 7 hours, working on how I get audio and everything into my show and back again to Chicago for the radio show next weekend. So fingers crossed, dear God in heaven, that it will work. So wish me luck. I have to do an audio test with Chicago this week to see if it'll work. But I was being idiotically techie for 7 hours yesterday. Yeah, good times. And someone's got a good case of the Mondays, right? In other words, good. No, wish I could help. Yes, Mark, I wish you could too, man. But it's honest to God, most of the hype train. Look at that on a Monday morning. Things are looking up, kids. By golly, must be that whole oil price going down thing. Can I just show you how solving a problem that you know is a problem, but believing the cause is something that it isn't, is worse than not trying to solve it at all. The best description I can give is like that someone's ill, and you believe that illness is caused by tiny gnomes living in their colon and evil humors in the blood. And so therefore, you think the best cure in this circumstance is leeches. Right? See where I'm going with this? You're right that the person is sick. They clearly have the flu. However, the cause of said infection is you are totally misreading and therefore solving for the wrong problem. That's how I would describe the current Fed solution that they're putting forward right now in the economy. That they are using leeches. Well, they worked before. Yeah, a leech on my bottom for constipation. They're marvelous, aren't they? Well, the bottom one was, and I just sat down and squashed it. That's how you cure COVID. It can work. That's right. It's right. Go to a medieval barber for bloodletting. Nah. By the way, if you'll all recall the not joke that popped up, early 90s and wrote its way out and then was, lampooned in Borat. There was a earlier, sort of beta version of that in the 70s, which was nah. And it was the same joke, same exact joke. Just the 70s version. You remember the 70s, back when saying shit was enough of a swear word to get a laugh. Still is, I think, if you do it right. You have to use that 70s inflection. But anyways, your own saliva works the same as a leech saliva to help blood coagulate. Yes, it's true if you have an open wound, Wes. But if you happen to think that if they think your illness is based on humors in the blood, I'm just guessing it's not going to work out. So point I'm trying to make is that, and I'll show you this right here. This just shows, I think, very distinctly. I'm going to move this over a little bit. Nope. Whoop, hold on. I'll move this out of the way so you can see. Morgan Stanley sees more Fed hikes. JP Morgan expects pivot. Shallow recession calls are totally delusional, Rubini warns. How can you tell me you have money in China and then without telling me you have money in the Chinese economy? Fed to inflict more pain on economy as it readies big rate hike. That's a point, 75 basis points. That would be 0.75 is what a basis point means. I love hip economics talk. Biden's team takes on technical recession. It's not a real, take on technical recession is not a real one. Well, yeah, I mean, I see what they're saying. A real recession, quote unquote, would be caused by market factors and not Fed manipulation intended to deal with inflation. The idea is that the Volcker plan from a long time ago was trigger a recession to fix inflation. And because inflation came down because it was on the bottom arc of an oil spike, oil price spike, it appeared to work. By the way, so will this one. The combination of overstocked inventories and the supply shock easing up that's gonna lower prices and gas prices going down because supply is normalizing again. That's gonna lower prices. That's gonna but all these rate hikes are gonna make it look like that was the trigger point. So, anyways, fascinating. Yes, you are here, Bob. I don't know. Well, depends on where here is. You're here, but you may not be there. You may not be all there, I suppose. So, hi, chat room. Good to see you. There you are. Hi, Jill Carter. Kenneth, how are you, sir? Everything you said is coming true. It has a tendency to do that. Trying to be a good guy about this. Hold on. Why is that little thing is going to bother me? There you go. That's why, too. Hey, Siri, stream.
On it.
There you go.
Done.
Sorry. The side ones aren't up, so it makes it a little murky around the edges. Yeah, I am somewhere. Well, that's debatable too. You could be a chatbot for all I know. That's the other thing. I don't trust anybody on the internet. It's a general rule. I hope you understand. Hi, good morning. Good morning. Trump is running for a second term. What site? No. Yeah, exactly. Nope. Hal works in the prophetic. Yeah, I'm like Hank Cooney Coon without the big eyebrows. Lord, and my lightning will fall like a fire from the rocks that shall deliver us from the rising of the will of the Lord. 6 months later, what I meant by rocks and lightning was whatever happened. Your voice sounds like it got a good rest. Yes, that was the other thing was I spent a good deal of time not talking as best I could. I mean, my kid and I obviously had a couple of really nice conversations. More 3D, yeah, coming at you. It rained here in Vegas this fine morning. Not a bot. It's exactly what a bot would say. That's true. Trump 2024. Is that his belt line? Is that his waist? I'm gonna go with no. I'm gonna save us, Reverend. Absolutely. Yeah, Trump is a magnificent loser. What is your hometown? That's a tough question. I have the unfortunate behavioral, I guess, an emotional characteristic. I think it would be more of an emotional characteristic to fall in love with. Yes, I'm hiding some of the people's identities to protect the innocent. No, there you go. How about that? Is that better? That I get. I have a melancholy streak that is ubiquitous, and it makes me. I fall in love with things easily. And places, romantic moments, people, and I'm completely enamored with life. And so some people only have one hometown. I have Peaks Mill and sort of Frankfurt tacitly as well. Chicago, L.A. certainly, and I gotta say I'm partial to Vegas if I could get out. The summer, it's hard to like Vegas because it's hard to get out and actually. I see. Yes, the 2024 is the Iranian real. Hal Sparks is the lowest value currency. It's his net worth, right? He should be so lucky. Isn't well, no, the Iranian real. It's the Iraqi dinar, Kenneth, that the Q people are using. That's what you're supposed to invest in. So Nasara Jassara happens again. But yeah, it's raining here, and you go like, all right, you know what? I could start liking you guys. Yay! 3 girls, 3 wheels. That's awesome. Thank you, Mark, so much for getting the patches out. And confronting me about it so that and offering to help. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. I'm terrible at delegating because I want I feel like it's my gig to lift burdens off of other people. So giving them out, even in a work setting, is weird for me. I'll get over it. It's why I haven't been on Shark Tank yet. But because you have to. I'd love to know what it feels like to even be mostly enamored with life. It's not as hard as you think. You just have to be honest. Yeah. You got to be honest about where you are in life, not where you think you should be or where people have convinced you ought to be by now or any of that stuff, where you put this kind of like artificial standard that you haven't been striving for maybe even, but that should automatically be here, or that by comparison to some other time, you at least have to reflect on the fact that you have it easier just living now than you would have in the exact same sort of economic or emotional, familial, racial, economic strata that you would have, 100 years ago. Out of respect for the fact that you comparatively, yay, 666 super chat. There we go. We've got 666 people in this chat room. It's actually more than that already, but it's a good time to do it. It used to be a slow thing. You guys will remember, at least, to be like, okay, will we make it? And now we're regularly getting there. So please welcome, settle in. It's HAL Sparks Mornings, Mega Worldwide, and this is the Monday edition, and there's so much to talk about. Do you still believe Trump won't run? Yes, I do. I do not think he will run. And again, if he announces he's going to have to drop out because of health reasons, because he can't afford to go without the money. You have to understand, this is not about like even his ego and all this bullshit about he thinks he can run because if he doesn't run, they can prosecute him and maybe as a candidate he'll have. Look, none of that applies until he wins. That's 2 years off. None of his problems are going to, are going to be solved in the next 18 months. Yeah. Thank you, trolls. That's right. 37.9. We're 100 away from 38,000. Oh, boy. Don't forget to subscribe or remind someone to subscribe. Thank you guys for being here. It's so super fun. So anyways, the point I was making earlier is Morgan Stanley sees more Fed hikes. JP Morgan expects a pivot. This is because Morgan Stanley thinks that the Fed is going to stick to the Volcker thing and thinks what they're doing is going to solve everything. And JP Morgan thinks that since there's a liquidity crisis, they're going to trigger a deeper recession than they want and therefore have to dial it back by 0.5 point in the spring or something like that. Either way, you're still not even near 80s, 90s, early 2000 numbers anyways. And so the idea that somehow these basis points when we were basically zero are going to crash the fucking economy is sort of goofy. What the interesting thing is that it's not necessarily going to affect the amount of money in the system. It's supposed to, right? That's the theory. Raise the cost of borrowing, people won't borrow as much money. But I got news for you. They're going to borrow it from someplace, trustworthy, and that's stable, and they're going to borrow a currency they need, and that's U.S. dollars. Sorry. Sticky inflation is what will keep the Fed hawkish for longer this time around, according to Morgan Stanley. While during the past 4 seconds, the U.S. central bank had stopped tightening its blah, 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 blah. It's the same shit. Again, and this was a funny story. There's a shift. We've talked about this a little bit, but what we would call get out of here. What we would refer to these get over here. It's a thing. Bring it back in a little bit. There you go. There's a thing in China called lying flat, which I've mentioned before, it was catching on, and the Chinese government pushed back on it because the kids were like giving up on the hard work, the Jojo Liu, which is 996, 9 hour, or like you work 9 to 9, 6 days a week, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 6 days a week. Yeah, lying flat is just giving up, exactly, and or giving poo. Market, so I understand the power of typos. Now there's a new thing in China called "Let It Rot," which is even worse. Same kind of attitude, but it's just getting more. Let's see. Yeah, here's a. Let's see the. See if they mention it in here. I think they do. A perfect storm of factors propelled unemployment among 16 to 24-year-olds have a 19% unemployment in China. The government's hardline coronavirus strategy has led to layoffs, while its regulatory crackdown on real estate and education companies. We'll talk about that in a minute, because the whole like China eating. I'm still amazed that people are still doing the China's going to eat our lunch shit. I find it mind-boggling. Gen Z are getting tired of old men running China. Yeah, I wouldn't translate it to the same feelings that we have, kind of, old white guys in America concept. It doesn't overlay exactly mothers are equally responsible for making sure their kid is an achiever over there, which is the exhausting part of it. So, see if they have the, yeah. There's their graduates. There's their enrollment rate by percentage. This is like everybody's going to college and everybody's coming out with no job. She was not alone. 39% of graduates listed state-owned companies as their top choice of employer. What, are you going to not say that? And to get rich and fame overnight is not realistic. They got to take a lower path, blah, blah, blah. You got to lower your... Here it is. The phrase tongue ping, lying flat, spread through China's internet last year. The slogan invokes dropping out of the rat race and doing the bare minimum to get by, and reflected the desire for a better work-life balance in the face of China's slowing growth. As the unemployment situation has continued to worsen, many young people have adopted an even more fatalistic approach, bailan, which means let it rot. The concept is a kind of mental relaxation. No. I would argue that if you have some sort of like, tune in, turn on, drop out, maybe close to sort of the revolutionary mindset of the 60s at its best, but there's a huge difference between, work on your work-life balance and let it rot. The concept is kind of, and it said, Hu Xiaoyu, a 24-year-old with a psychology master's degree. This way, even if you fail, you will feel better. But when it comes to spring, only 1 in 10 companies would offer an interview. It fell off a cliff. Found it easy to land interviews. Now it's, yeah, there you go. There's, obviously Spain and India have an issue there. Spain, interestingly enough, has a much bigger, like social safety net. And so their unemployment it has a big chunk of it, not all of it obviously, but a big chunk of it by choice, as opposed to by not being able to find a job. They still have issues, but there's still this kind of like, siesta, communist co-ops, social safety net, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff that they've been building over time, is a little bit of the wiggle room, which probably equals it with China. It's also, by the way, by population, way smaller. I mean, let's see, the Spain population, is what? 46 million people. So percentage-wise, you're talking about a smaller group of people. You're also wanting them to be educated because they have a diminishing demographic, just like every other country in Europe. So not surprising. don't work, just go get your degree. We'll take care of it. It's a little more like that. So when 27% of Spanish youth are unemployed, it can be more out of choice in a much more smaller group of people. By volume, that's not a big deal. What are Spain's demographics? Because that matters as well. You're exactly right. Let's see. Spain demographic. I'll show you. It's in line with. Yeah, here you go. It's in line with what you're seeing everywhere else. Arguably worse. In some ways. Here you go. Hold on. Let me open this picture up. I'll show you. This is from 2021. This is Spain's demographics. This is the youngins. These are the boomers. Yeah, that's a hard taper. It's got a little bit of a balloon. They did definitely have some millennials, in here. And these guys are, there's a harder taper. I mean, this is a harder taper. This is less of a hard taper. So it could be, again, signs of a normalizing population by volume is not necessarily signs of a complete collapse, the way the Chinese one looks, But, usually you want kind of a softer pyramid like this, and, small waves is fine. But this kind of drop off, that right there, that's fucking rough. So that just means that a lot of these kids in this area right about here, this group are unemployed. So, and I'll show you, just like, let's look at, now again, you have to understand China's demographics are largely BS. Hold on one second. Demographic chart corrected. Let's see. I know I have one in here somewhere. Because there's a huge Japan 2013. Back up. This is the current Wikipedia, and where's the what year is that? 2020. Yeah. So I'll so this is, where's the, I need it bigger though. Here we go. This is the uncorrected one, because they shaved off a bunch over here. Like, look, we magically made a bunch of people, but then they went away. Which is super fucking weird. Again, this is, you're going by their their number of people. Okay, so this is male surplus. See, there's too many males. See this dark blue? And then females over here. Look at the imbalance of this thing. Look how many, because it like, twist your head slightly sideways and look at, because it looks kind of like, if you squint, it looks relatively even, but it is so fucking not. You have to add there are too many of these dudes to make it uneven, which is a very strange thing, by the way, to have to add to this chart. But also, they overcounted this group right here and right here by about 130 million. I agree, kill the bells. No. The rapture is true, right? It just took the women, though. But yeah, so, I mean, China, again, their population, their numbers, I don't buy at all. Let's look at let's look at India's, though, since it's up there on the chart. Like, so we looked at Spain, we looked at China, and now let's look at India's. India age structure. Now, what's the difference? And if you're talking about the future of a group of people, and why is it that China is afraid? Let's see if I can open this up at the same time. These are China's demographics. Okay, look at this taper right down here. Look at the number of kids. Look at it, like rink. Then this number is overdone, and then zoom, it jumps down, and then it's like a step ladder. Look how fast it's going down again, right there. Okay, now I don't know what killed off the 60-year-olds. That's a really odd. I think that's probably my guess. That would be missing data. I'm going to go with that. Incomplete or missing data. Just bullshit. You want to see why India worries China so much, and why a lot of people think that India is the next China as far as production of stuff? You want to see? Here it comes. There you go. That's India in 2020. That's what, if you look at this chart, right here. If you look at this chart, that's kind of what China looked like up till, whatever, 20, when we go, like 95, something like that, around here, minus that data, growing like this. It's that kind of arc. Look at that. Now, they have a male problem as well. They have too many guys. And a lot of the women, especially the better educated ones, are fucking off to other countries. Literally. So, but by volume of human beings, this is going to be, you need to put a condom on it, right? They're in steady growth. Now, this is a taper though. Look at this right here. You'll see this very thing right here, this overabundance of males is going to start a taper that'll be hard for them to, get out of over time, but it's not nearly as drastic as what's happening in China right now. But the Indian people are going to need jobs like crazy for that volume of people. So, and then everybody in China is just going to go work for the government. What a shock. I know. All right. And then one of the other pieces of news that I wanted to look at this morning, by the way, you're watching HAL Sparks Mondays, Mega Worldwide. We venture out into the world of into the news in a way that we won't necessarily see other people do. I happen to, whoops, let me go on here. This story is frightening and awful. Myanmar, aka Burma, aka the site of the last foreign Rambo movie, which drew attention to it in a way that other films hadn't or wouldn't bother. They've killed 4 activists. So to our pillars of right wing and left wing slacktivist complaining that of government censorship, and we're basically turning into China, blah blah blah, that you always hear from them. I would like to say, for the record, you haven't got any problems. Who did they kill? Now, I wouldn't doubt that these guys were engaged in some fighting, because it's a small space and it's a violent zone, and it has been for a while. But this would be part of a civil war. But the idea that they're terror acts because they're trying to establish democracy in their own country, which is something they had before, after this, is sort of ridiculous. So, Laura Trump, I guess it's because, let's see, demands Biden thank Donald Trump for COVID vaccine. But will she insist that he thank her for Botox and what's that, Juvederm? Hold on, something's bothering me. I mean, if you're gonna go for a look, Nailed it. Like, wow. I mean, it's kind of like watching those people who decide that they want to look like a cat or Michael Jackson or something like that, and they just decide, yeah, that's pretty much. Now, granted, I would argue that when I was probably 7, I think I had a crush on Janice from Janice from the Muppets band, which makes sense considering I kind of looked like Animal, you know. She had kind of a Cher energy that I liked. Right. Yep. Yeah, I'm gonna go with she's going for Jan from the Muppets. That's yeah. I don't know if you have to go to a special place for that look, but here's a lot of the dumbest Trump on the phone at Ivana's funeral. Always elegant. Yeah, because you go sleeveless to somebody's funeral. That's what I do. I mean, basically, I go. You know, my regular wear for my, you know, if my significant other, if one of their parents passes, is I just basically go out and work out clothes. Again, like, I should thank it for developing the vaccines. Yeah, what was, by the way, could he, by the way, can I just point something out while she's talking? Can everybody look at the Dow? I mean, the Fed is hiking rates. It's gonna be 0.75 basis points, and ahead of that, look at the Dow. It's recovered basically its losses from about a month and a half ago. Again, these people just act like we didn't go through fucking COVID. Just go showing belly. Yeah, I would wear the half shirt that Rocky wore. That's a good funeral wear. You know, again, I guess thanks to Trump for experimenting on himself with monoclonal antibodies. Scientist mRNA obsession once cost her a job. Now it's a key. Yeah. Again, this is just like, it's just so stupid. If we're supposed to, here's the thing. Biden will thank Trump for developing the vaccines as soon as he can convince his own followers to listen to him promote it without booing him. How about that? Oh, Lord, do I dare? Is it going to be the Ashley Babbitt's mom saying she'd been treated better if she was black? Is that what we're going? Yeah. The battle. Oh, justice for Ashley. Okay, that's an account. Ashley Babbitt. I cannot be killed. I'm invincible. Ashley Babbitt. The Onion. What are you doing? Yeah, by the time we jump into some of these, yeah, that's what it was. This is what started it. Yeah. Ashley Babbitt's mom tells Giuliani a black woman would be better treated. This is, was it on Rudy's Common Sense? Yeah, she had him on the podcast. Ugh. No, it was actually on his radio show. Yikes. Yeah. Ryan then claimed the video showed Babbitt trying to stop the men from breaking the glass, but Ryan claimed the ones decked out in MAGA gear were anti-fascist. She also claimed that Babbitt was trying to help officers, but didn't explain why. Then Babbitt climbed through the grass while an officer pointed a gun at her. Ryan claimed there's no warning before he fired, which is also false, as the video shows the officer had his gun, and then they were breaking the glass. Right, yeah, it's like, she punched a dude and went through, because we covered this. Like, it's just so stupid. It's gross. like, imagine think of all the wasted time defending the indefensible in this situation. Mysterious life forms discovered in centuries-old Hawaiian lava caves. They smell like pineapple and they can crawl on 6 legs. Ew. Hundreds of years ago, the volcanic processes that created the islands of Hawaii also formed a network of underground tunnels and caves. They're cold, dark, and full of toxic gases and minerals, so pretty much inhospitable to most forms of life. However, scientists have discovered these volcanic vents actually contain sprawling, complex colonies of microbes. Dripping goo. And if microbes can survive in these 600, 800-year-old lava tubes, we must then find some on Mars at some stage. Researchers found that older lava caves dating back more than 500 years typically contain a more diverse population of microbes. That's it. I don't know why you would think, looking at this, that it would contain microbes. You know what I mean? What would ever give you that idea? Call me crazy, Jim. But as a scientist looking here, I think there's bacteria surviving on these surfaces. Get out. It's true. Some of them may have been here for a while. Emmett Till, this is, I guess, the story about the woman, Emmett Till, Mother Fights for Justice, in the first trailer for, the biopic on him, right? And then they, like, finding the woman in a nursing home that gave the evidence, or, made the accusation against him, rather. Yeah, I think that would be a good idea, Ashton Pittman. That would be very nice. That's the world we're all working towards. That there are no more Emmett Tills and never shall be. And anybody who's, effing around with the idea of just letting the Republicans run stuff just because, I'm just disappointed and I don't think the Democrats fight hard enough for what they, in spite of, like, Manchin has COVID right now, and without his vote, we can't get anything passed. Never mind the fact that he won't give it on a couple of things. All the stuff he will do, he can't. Can't even have a vote until dude's COVID clears up. But tell me how we have control over the entire government. I don't care. There. With the solo leveling thing. Okay. I don't know why Sodom and Gomorrah is trending. I'm sure we'll find out. Hopefully there are no pictures. Latest updates on the war in Ukraine. Here's what you need to know about Russia's $10 billion plane heist. Now the Ireland landed in the center. Yeah, they kept a bunch of planes to support. Ukraine aims to ship grain exports from the Black Sea region this week despite the Russian attack. But they'll slow it enough to keep this, because Russia seems to think we'll deal with this in a second too. We'll talk about this. Russia seems to think that after their breath, they're going to be able to have some sort of like renewed vigor in the fight. I don't even. Hal should do his Sir Alec Guinness for books on tape, regardless of the subject. That's a great idea. The U.S. is working with Ukraine on a Plan B to get grain out of the country following Russia's attack on Odessa. Per Samantha Power. We've been living the contingency plan because there's no way you can trust anything that Vladimir Putin says. These blast points are too precise for sand people. Only Imperial troopers are so precise. Unless they're shooting at you while you're running, in which case they can't hit the broadside of a bomb. Continue with your studies. Move along. Ukraine and Russia make competing claims on HIMARS rocket systems. Yeah, it's funny. The ones they blew up keep firing. Let's see. The construction will begin in August. Russian troops regularly hit public transport stops in eastern city, killing civilians on a daily basis. They're going to do a future shelter. Yeah, just in case these assholes try it again. This is where they're capturing and deporting, they're kidnapping Ukrainians. Korean forces destroyed a Russian combat helicopter, a Ka-52, worth $16 million using Igla Man portable system, reports the general. I know this is the morning show, but you guys know behind the scenes, I sometimes do my due diligence and end up watching, some of these jackholes that we talk about, including, but not limited to, Jimmy Dork and his crowd. Now, let's see, history. See all. Let's see if I can find this. This is last night, but yeah, here you go. This is so pause. Push this out. Here you go. So this video, I'm not going to do the thing because I've already done it. This video is entitled NPR turns against Ukraine. You can see that. Now you tell us. Look at the thumbnail. NPR turns against Ukraine. 186,000 views. It's got 1 million subscribers, but at 186. But it's new, so it'll grow. It's very popular. Shitting on Ukraine is one of his biggest moneymakers. Now, he does the whole thing. He's pro Yanukovych. He's still pissed that Yanukovych was deposed by his own people. But the idea is that NPR corruption concerns involving Ukraine are revived as the war with Russia drags on. And this is Jimmy saying that, it's the most corrupt country in Europe because it was in 2014. So he's going, a year after Maidan, Ukraine is still the most corrupt country in Europe. Again, 32 out of not corruption, whereas Hungary's at 43, Belarus is at 41. The idea that Belarus, by the way, is part of Europe, or even that the Russian Federation, obviously, look, here's Russia, 29. They have control of Ukraine in 2014, complete control, and yet it was still less corruption than Russia itself. But never mind that. Never mind the dates or whatever. But he goes through this whole thing, read highlights, all this shit. I mean, you could watch it if you feel like it. There's America's going to press ahead with the thing, and then there's the the whole idea is that they're stealing this, and there's Kurt writes some half-ass jokes, and they don't really qualify. It's because Zelensky fired the spy chief, the prosecutor, and some of the other folks which were spying on behalf of Russia. They weren't internally corrupt. It wasn't Ukrainian oligarch corruption equal to blah, blah, blah. It was literally Russian subterfuge. And yet Jimmy's still, rooting for Russia to win. Let's see, here you go. High-profile supporters of Ukraine in both parties also want to avoid a backlash that could make it hard to pass, difficult. Okay, that's and this is what you're doing. Okay, so then, modern diplomacy. This is gotcha. July 7th, 2022. Scandal. Ukraine sells military equipment donated by NATO countries. I mean, that's from Modern Diplomacy. Who's not a regular reader of Modern Diplomacy? I know what you're thinking, but Hal, that's got to be some sort of rando, nearly bot-generated website pushing, in particular, pro-Russia or pro-China propaganda. Get out of here. Let me show you. By the way, who thinks that Jimmy actually went into the body of the article at all and started reading it? Who thinks that actually... Okay, so this is the actual article. Jimmy loves the picture, not the article itself. Scandal. Ukraine sells military equipment donated by NATO countries. Published 3 weeks ago, July, by Adomas Abramadis. We'll open up his background in another tab. We'll look at his other articles. Ukraine remains one of the most corrupt countries in the international system. Corruption not only destroys the country from within, but also begins to influence the attitude of its partners towards the country. The latest manifestation of corruption is beyond comprehension. Completely unbiased, normal writing. All right. On June 20th, French lawyer Régis de Castelnau wrote on his official Twitter account. Ooh. Not on his burner. Another success of Macron. 2 French Caesar guns were intercepted intact by the Russians. They are currently in the Uralgazov factory in the Urals for study and possible reverse engineering. Thank you, Macron. We are paying. Now, that's the idea that these 2 guns were captured, allegedly, according to this dude's official Twitter feed. And Macron is to blame for this because he's supporting Ukraine like we are, and therefore, all right. Caesar is equipped with all the systems needed for independent operation, a cabin to protect the 6-man gun crew against shell fragments, a small arms fire, an initial ammunition supply of 16 complete rounds, and none of the repair parts needed or the technology available to control any of those things if injured. Never mind. They're going to reverse engineer it. The Russians got a dog in space before we did. All right. An instrumentation for navigation, aiming, ballistic calculations, and command aids. Dear God. Next thing you're going to tell me, it comes with its own DJI drone. The system was specifically designed to meet the fire support requirements of rapid deployment forces. But the unidentified French sources later claimed, oh, all right, well, so we're 3 unidentified sources deep, and our main statement comes from a dude who hates Macron, who's, all right, never mind. That the 2 Caesar self-propelled howitzers were sold through an intermediary by Ukrainians to the Russians, the price which is being discussed in tight circles, which was $120,000 each. That's right. The idea is that it's some Ukrainians, Russians in Ukraine, very possibly. But the idea is that a bunch of these guys, we're to believe anyways, that some Ukrainians hooked these howitzers up to a truck and drove them close enough to or near enemy lines enough to make a financial transaction for $120K each. Right. But yeah, I know it. BulgarianMilitary.com recalls that the unit value of the Caesar self-propelled howitzer varies around the amount of 7 million euros. Political analyst at BulgarianMilitary.com says that the possibility that the 2 howitzers were sold to Moscow is evident in the tone and ending of French lawyer and politician Régis de Castelnau's words. It is very clear to him, the French lawyer, that during the war, in addition to prisoners of war, the adversaries acquire different foreign equipment. This is war. Some die, others abandon their positions out of fear, and others profit from the war. The end of the comment, thank you, Macron, we are paying, suggests that Régis de Castelnau believes that the 2 howitzers were not abandoned and therefore captured but sold. No, I think he means that their shit was seized, like he says in his thing, and that we're paying to support the Russians because they took these. He's being a dick. Dr. Sebastian Levy, correspondent and analyst of BulgarianMilitary.com. for the Middle East region, says he believes the 2 self-propelled howitzers were resold with the help of an intermediary, a military dealer. Yeah, you don't want to Craigslist that shit. You'll get reamed. If you don't have a good intermediary military guy who, you're going to sell something that's worth 7 million euros for 120,000 K. On June 2nd, BulgarianMilitary.com, which I'm not clicking on because I know it's a redirect to a porn site, revealed the sale of at least one FGM 148 Javelin anti-tank guided missile system, one actual thing, on the dark web for $30,000. Wait for it. The seller is unclear, but according to the information posted on the darknet, the location where the system will be shipped or picked up from is Kiev, the capital of Ukraine. Hey, buddy, any Russians want to buy a $30,000 Javelin, just come to Kiev and I'll give it to you. Like, this is fucking dumb. You're starting to get the idea why Jimmy doesn't read the article, why he just puts it up and goes like, the title is from, but guys, it's from modern diplomacy, not antiquated diplomacy. I hate their website. There's no pictures. According to the German publication, when is it? Oh, sorry. Interpol knows the illegal sale of arms by Ukrainians. Sale of arms by Ukrainians to Russians. Interpol knows the legal sale of arms by Ukrainians to Russians, period. Knows of? Two ofs? Did they just decide against the of? Because this is translated using Google Translate directly from Russian. The German online edition Overton Magazine writes that this is the kind of thing that you'd want from this, yes, writes that concerns can be seen in the statements of Jürgen Stock, Secretary General of Interpol, who fears that the weapons will be handed over to the criminal organizations. According to the German publication, a part of the weapons delivered to Ukraine were actually seized, but another part was resold by Ukrainian holdings. Holdings. I'm sorry, it doesn't sound like soldiers. Doesn't sound like government officials. Ukrainian holdings sounds like a venture capitalist group. As for Lithuania, its military support to Ukraine includes Stinger air defense systems, anti-tank weapons, body armor, and helmets, 120mm mortars, small arms, ammunition, thermal imagers, drones, anti-drones, and surveillance radars. The equipment is worth around $15.5 million. That's a lot of shit for 15. What is it, one each? The Lithuanian Defense Ministry wrote in a press release on it, overall Lithuania's financial support for the more so Lithuania plans to donate. Okay. Oh, now I know what you're thinking. What the fuck does the idea that two French howitzers that may have been seized by Russians that were alleged to be sold because of it, how these guys read a tweet by a French lawyer who would have no actual knowledge of the thing itself. Why would that then lead you to a story on BulgarianMilitary.com that relates stories from The Guardian about concerns that, high-tech weaponry that the West has would fall into the hands of Russians who have shit, and therefore make them, give them something useful, which would be a reasonable fear or conversation point anyways, whether they genuinely are concerned, considering they can't keep their own artillery stations from being hit. I think our stuff with the internal tracking stuff that we know where they are. If they were dragging one, if they dragged it back to their base, like, look what we got, you know what I mean? Anyways, why I know what you're thinking, like, where the fuck did this jump from some asshole on the dark web allegedly selling a single javelin for $30K, where they don't even know who it is, and that, according to the information posted on the darknet, the location where the system will be shipped from, I guess? Okay, shipped or picked up from, all right, is Kiev, the capital of Ukraine, right? Because that's where they are. Yeah, the military, Zelensky, everybody, they're storing all the military shit in the capital so as to make it easier for Russia to have a predicate to bomb the capital. Well, of course, that's where they're storing all the javelins. Val Kilmer and the Saints' impressions were hilarious. Tadzila Lumidva. Who are you? I am Ivan Ivanovich. You English with your fish and chips. On the plane, I had the chicken. Married for only a year, and already this bastard has a girlfriend. I'm sorry, not my business. I fucking love Val Kilmer, and I love him in that movie, and I wish he had done more of them. They should have done 10. Yeah, Jimmy's trying to find some good Russian news. Oh, you have to remember, this video, Jimmy, like 2 weeks ago, was telling us Ukraine is a failed state and has already lost. I don't know why that doesn't factor into his argument that, I guess a failed state, you would sell off all the shit, right? Yeah, it's a big Ukrainian yard sale. Yes, and by the way, this is a photo of a Ukrainian team selling this munition to some Russian soldiers. And apparently it's COD. So again, he runs this title. This is from this. Oh, I forgot to show this. So according to German publication, part of the armament was delivered to Ukraine were actually seized, but another part was resold by Ukrainian holdings. And again, this is like gibberish. This is barely translated to English. It's like almost, if you read any of those like AI generated news feeds, it reeks of that. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the people that write for the thing are like the pictures of them are generated by AI as well. But then look at this part. As for Lithuania, its military support, like this last chunk is all about, so Lithuania can't be sure that all its efforts to support Ukraine will be helpful to the country. The fuck does Lithuania have to do with this shit? One rando dude on the darknet is allegedly selling a javelin, but you have to come and get it, which sounds like more Ukrainians fucking with the Russians. 2 howitzers, French howitzers, were allegedly seized, but were probably sold because some French fuck tweeted about it. And that's the basis of this whole thing. Now, written by this dude, Adamas Abramidis, which sounds like his last name sounds like a colorectal problem. Okay, so here's his last one. This is 3 weeks ago. A month ago, he wrote, Lithuania to lose confidence for German troops in near future. Lithuania to lose confidence for German troops in near future. All right. I don't know why you didn't use that title. Jimmy, why didn't you use that title for an article? Surely your regular viewers would totally understand. Lithuania, U.S. military cooperation turned to full dependence. We sent 400 people to Lithuania, apparently, and now they are a colony. Lithuania Minister of Defense admits armed forces capability deficit. Lithuania is returning to pre-industrial economy. Yeah. Lithuania is now living in the 14th century. They've been sent back to the Bronze Age. Yeah. Lithuania fell into a military trap. Lithuania to pay a high price for foreign troops. This is 4 months ago. Lithuania as a pawn in U.S.-Russia game. Uncomfortable truth. The Baltics need Russian resources. This is 5 months ago. This is before. You see the lead up? Here, a little more posts. Let's go back to, are there any? Yeah, here you go. 5 months ago. Baltic states, information madness about war in Ukraine. Yeah, it's not going to happen. Lithuania's image is ruined. Lithuania is left in the dust. Same picture as the other article. 2021, the year of political bankruptcy of the Lithuanian government. Lithuania bets only on the U.S. And look, their lights are on and the country looks fairly happy. Lithuania pensioners get ready for death. Wait, what? What? Hold on. The what? Come on. All right. Get the fuck now. Lithuania. Pensioners get ready for death. By the way, same writer as this article. Main attention of the Lithuanian media has been focused on migrant crises and security issues for several weeks. This problem has also become a good reason to once again draw the attention of the population to the need of increasing defense capabilities. This problem has become a good excuse for further increasing of the armed forces funding. New purchases in the defense sector, talks, meetings, visits, as usually ended with the promises to support the country on condition of increasing military spending by Lithuania itself. And Lithuanian agree without hesitation, although it would be worth thinking. Fucking hell. This is an AI article. What the shit? Yes, right. And by the way, all pensioners are sort of getting ready for death by making sure that their affairs are, I suppose. What is it? What do they mean? Just getting a will in order? Like, whatever. Anyways. Finance Minister Gintare Skaiste told a press conference the day before what? that this would raise defense spending from 2% in 2021 to 2.03 to 2.05 in 2022. Lithuanian radio and television reported on its website on October 11th. She added that the Lithuanian political parties support the gradual increase of defense spending 2.5% by GDP at 2030. These numbers are not only in the files. These are millions of euros! Exclamation point. Ministry of Defense and not the State Border Guard Service at the Ministry of the Interior of the Republic of Lithuania, which would be logical in this situation. Motherfucker. I mean, honestly. That's amazing. That's worse than I thought it would be. I thought this dude would just be kind of like an Aaron Mate, with one fixation. Naseda wants war. Lithuanians just want peace. And the only ones that can give it to them is a soft Russian invasion, a hot Russian meat injection. Political crisis in Lithuania is on our doorstep. Our? Lithuanian Market and Opinion Research Center vigilance carried out a public opinion poll in order to rank politicians' competence in their public support. The result demonstrated a very low level of population support for the government in October. Here are some examples. Yeah, so basically they've automated it. That is the quality of writing on the website that Jimmy Dore is citing as his proof. This is the NPR, is talking about the concerns previous about Russian infiltration into Ukraine being the cause of the corruption. Russians infiltrating the Ukrainian government being the cause of the corruption. That's what the NPR article is about. Jimmy jumps around and tries to avoid that. There's one little slip of it that sneaks through. I'll show you in a second. But to back up his sort of outlandish, ridiculous claims about Nazism and all that shit, he goes to Modern Diplomacy, which is a bot site that just auto writes shit-talking articles. So then he goes back to the NPR one. So he basically shows you this, and then he shows you the NPR article to conflate the two as if this is the body of that article. U.S. officials are quick to say that Zelensky is well within his right to appoint whomever he wants to senior positions, including prosecutor general, remove anyone who he sees as collaborating with Russia. That's the point of the NPR thing, is that there's still these Russian dead enders in the society. And like, there's one more piece. And then the red title, that's Jimmy's highlighting a perennial U.S. demand going back to Ukraine's early days of independence. Yeah, that this is one of the things you're going to have to continue to root out, is because if these Russians are in here and they're going to subvert you, every dollar we spend, it used to be that every dollar we spent, 80% would end up in Russia. And then we got to about 60%. Now we're down to like 10%. And once the war started, it's seized up. Now you got to broom these fuckers so that once the war ends, you don't have to worry about this shit anymore. And you can be a song. Okay, so then he backs up and shows that and yada yada, and the idea is that somehow he doesn't. Then he goes back to this piece. Okay, in October and then again in December 20, the U.S. and others were warning of the increasing potential for a Russian invasion. Biden administration was calling out Zelensky's government for inaction on corruption that had little or nothing to do with Russia. This is the later part in the article. Now wait, hold on, and then this part. The EU and the U.S. are greatly disappointed by unexplained and unjustifiable delays in the selection of the head of the Specialized Anti-Corruption Prosecutor Office, a crucial body in the fight against the high-level corruption, the U.S. Embassy said to Kiev on October 9th, because we were continuing kind of normal aid with them. This is before the attack. And they wanted this guy appointed. They just haven't been doing it yet because they had bigger fish to fry. And then, here you go, where's this? Ramped up weapons and intelligence providing, blah, blah, blah. This is where we are. Basically, they're saying they were worried about this before the war, and then the war broke out, and then, okay. A Ukrainian-born congresswoman who came to prominence early in the war recently broke that unofficial silence on corruption in the state. Now, who wants to think that Jimmy, who thinks that Jimmy wants you to believe that, and you guys can watch this video if you don't believe me, if Jimmy wants you to believe that this woman, Victoria Sparks, no relation, a first-term Republican from Indiana, has made half a dozen trips to Ukraine since the war began. Who wants to think that she thinks it's corrupt because Zelensky is corrupt, or she thinks it's corrupt because there's a bunch of fucking Russians that have been undermining the country from within for years, and that's been one of her points. Let's move forward in the article when he shows it. She was invited to the White House in May and received a pen used by Joe Biden to sign an aid package to Ukraine, even after she angrily criticized Biden for not doing more to help. She wanted more aid. But in recent weeks, SPARKS has accused Zelensky of, quote, playing politics and alleged his top aide, Andriy Yermak, had sabotaged Ukraine's defense against Russia. The idea is that they didn't broom these people fast enough. She's also repeatedly called on Ukraine to name the anti-corruption prosecutor, blaming Yermak for the delay. Hold on one second. I'll get up there. Okay. Igor Novikov, a Kiev-based former advisor to Zelensky, called many of SPARKS' claims a mix of hearsay and urban legends and myths. Allegations against Yermak in particular have circulated for years, going back to his interactions with Trump allies who sought derogatory information against Biden's son, which, by the way, then Jimmy uses this as a moment to, hold on, he says something in the order of like, that it's real stuff, that the laptop really exists and that it's been verified. And then he also says he floats the Wuhan lab leak theory at the same time. Straight up like Glenn Beck shit.
Couldn't have started in a lab. That's a... Igor Novikov, a Kiev-based former advisor to Zelensky, called many of SPARKS' claims a mix of hearsay and urban legends and myths. Yeah, like the Wuhan virus couldn't have started in a lab. That's a virus. That's a myth. Allegations against Yermak in particular have circulated for years, going back to his interactions with Trump allies who sought derogatory information against Biden's son Hunter. You mean who sought accurate information?
Derogatory evidence of his crimes?
Yeah, you mean they want
his crimes? By the way, Kurt's a full-on drug libertarian. Jimmy even refers to himself as a pot-smoking, a pothead comic, which, you know, the argument that pot affects people differently and makes some people paranoid and forgetful. This would be in the don't column of why you should do drugs or whatever. Sorry, it was so loud. It was I had to listen to it through my speakers. Anyways, point being is I'm not going to play any more of it. But he again, the best part about this, of course, is that he buries Kurt behind this. Let's see. This is the part that Jimmy has the hardest point with. Given we're in a state of war, we need to give President Zelensky and his team the benefit of the doubt. Novikov said, until we win this war, we have to trust the president who stayed and fought with the people. And to which Jimmy believes, and he goes through a couple of tweets from people who also are rooting for Ukraine to fail, including himself. He just repeats what he says in this video on his tweet. And the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire. The best part about this is that he continues to put Kurt behind graphics, because fuck him. Yeah. So anyways, that's stuck out to me in this, like I said, 23-year-old, likes a 23-year, 4'6" fascist dictator. It's a very strange thing. Yeah. And it's getting harder and harder to sell. He literally starts that video talking about that Ukraine is just overrun with Nazis. Just everybody's a Nazi there. They're just 100% Nazis. And that the Nazis helped elect Zelensky, the Jewish president, and now they're turning on him because of an article in Modern Diplomacy. Fuck you, Jimmy Dore. You mental midget. You like absolute goober. Yes. Yes, I would always trust Sergei Lavrov to pick my leaders. You guys did it all wrong. You do all wrong.
You voted last time. You don't know the people of Ukraine do not need this awful person to be their president. So we as Russia will come in and tell you that you can do better than this fellow. Granted, you have had 2 awful elections since you kicked out our guy, you little fuckers. So what you really need is go back to the Yanukovych regime. Remember, we had so much nice. You don't bringing me flowers. You don't sing me love songs. You hardly talk to me no more. You kick out Yanukovych and you show me the door.
Today, the FSB announced that they have foiled a plot by Ukraine's intelligence services to lure Russian military pilots to surrender to Ukraine with their planes in return for millions of US dollars in payments. Okay. Using traditional mix of forged evidence and loosely interpreted facts, the FSB also accused me personally of being involved in the plane hijacking plot. On screen, totally forged message. I've never had a UK number, obviously. This is Christo Grozev, the Terror for All the Secret, Maria Zarakova. Okay. What is true, however, is that I was involved in this crazier than fiction story of triple agents, fake passports, and faux girlfriends as a documentary filmmaker. Yes, we were chronicling one of the wackiest counter intel operations of all time, and the docu is still on. All Russia is presenting today. This is a coup for its counterintelligence. In fact, the operation was a serious blunder for the FSB, disclosing unintentional identities of dozens of counterintel officers, their methods of operation, and their undercover assets. Remember the Wagner Sting operation in Belarus? No, I don't. Well, as Russia invaded Ukraine, some of the Ukrainian operatives who were engineered that sting decided to repeat it, this time by enticing Russian military pilots to surrender. In April, Ukraine adopted a weapons surrender incentive law. A team of Ukrainian operatives decided to approach Russian pilots with an offer based on this law. We found out about the initiative and assured ourselves a front seat to make a documentary about this brazen operation. Several Russian military pilots were approached and even sent proof of access videos from inside their planes, in each case bearing a separate number handwritten on pieces of paper. Some of the footage from inside of the planes was quite detailed and enlightening. Note that now the FSB are presenting these videos as controlled leaks while at the same time blurring the inside of the cockpit, right? So controlled that we can't let people see them again. The negotiations between Ukrainian recruiters and the pilots, which we filmed, started out as expected, but their tone changed quickly, suggesting the pilots were no longer talking on their own behalf, but were coached likely by them. So they basically turned again. It took me about 5 minutes to discover that the pilot's lover, way too hot for him, FSB, was an FSB asset, working as a fitness trainer by day, but moonlighting as an FSB girlfriend for hire the rest of the time. Ukrainians figured that out too. I mean, this is straight up like, we're back to like Cold War. Hello, Mr. Bonds. Can I fix you a drink? Another clue came when the different pilot suddenly asked his Ukrainian counterparts for advice in incapacitating his co-pilot with a sedative. Yeah, that's crazy. All right. Russia admits Kremlin aims to oust Ukraine Zelensky. Yeah, they have been the whole fucking time. Maybe that's what Jimmy means when he says they're turning on Zelensky. It's the Guatemalan president signs a visa-free agreement so that people can travel back and forth, no problem. This dude shot down an Su-25 with a man pad. Oh, and it turns out the aircraft pilot was a Wagner Group mercenary. So it was more expensive a shoot down than originally thought. The plane wasn't expensive. The dude was for hire. So the Belarusian military has ordered 1,000 body bags to be delivered in 10 days. Well, here's a warning to Lukashenko. If your forces attack Ukraine, you'll have tens of thousands of body bags. Okay. My guess is that Russia came and took their body bags, so they have to refill. If you have a military, you have to have a certain amount of stuff and you have to replenish it. My guess is when Russia came and took a lot of their shit, they took the body bags too. Ukrainian government has issued a blacklist of individuals spreading Russian propaganda, including Yeah, there's Mearsheimer and Glenn Greenwald. Yep. Is this list just to shame people, or does it impose travel restrictions like the Russian foreign minister blacklist? It's just to shame people. And Mearsheimer's stuff is like the goofiest bullshit. It gets dumber by the day. Again, Mearsheimer's stuff is like Ray Dalio's stuff about China. Which I would put on par with the movie 2012 if you watch it in 2013. You're like, this is hilarious. Let's see. Goodwill, justice, Kherson. Oh yeah. Well, that's the idea that they're gonna that they're surrounded in Kherson. Yeah, Russia and Ukraine signed a United Nations-backed agreement to resume exports of Ukraine grain through the Black Sea on July 22nd. The agreements were put at risk by Russia's missile strike on the Odessa port on July 23rd. They signed the deal, and then they bombed the place the next fucking day. But tell me again how the Ukrainians are Nazis. Ukrainian air defense shot down 2 UAVs near Koval in northwestern Ukraine that had flown in from Belarus. Yeah, the Belarusians are just acting as a landing spot. They're not sending in their real people. Yeah, this is the Russian drones. Yeah. Russian forces stalled with the aid of U.S. HIMARS. Ukraine defense official says soldiers still undergunned. Yeah, they're going to need more official support when they start moving in. That's, that's the thing, is that the HIMARS will basically make the Russians run out of ammo, but they're still going to need to clear that area, and there's still going to be pockets. They're going to need a lot more like light infantry stuff to clear the cities. They're basically sending these people in as human shields. It's gross. Yeah. The Israeli government is pushing back against moves by Moscow to outlaw the private agency that helps Russian Jews immigrate to Israel, ramping up tensions between the two uneasy allies that have worsened since the invasion of Ukraine in February. What's the latest on Jews being able to move freely vis-a-vis the Ukrainian government, who apparently are overrun with Nazis? Any legislation quickly run through or signed by Zelensky or the Ukrainian parliament to limit the travel of Jews anytime soon? No. Russian forces hold more than 5,000 people in the queue at the checkpoint in Vasilivka. 5 people have died trying to flee the occupation. The European Commission is backing them because, I guess this is the new, obviously the new Nazism that's overrunning Europe. 2 Americans killed while volunteering to defend Ukraine from Russian identified. Yeah, there's 2 Ukrainians, a Swede and a Canadian, were hit by tank fire. A village in northern Ukraine was devastated by Russian occupation only months ago. A techno party is in full swing. Yep, and then we're going to have to make up for a lot of lost grain. Moldova is very worried about a potential Russian invasion as Russian forces prepare to step up attacking Ukraine's east and south, close to the border with a tiny nation of 2.5 million. They're not going to make their way around there. I would say this is a trickle-down story. This took just a while to make it here. Or make it to, into sort of the regular news feed. And the Russians are going to just use increasingly large bombs. What's happening here? These young Ukrainians are raving as they help rebuild. As you do. Hey, man, play some music. It's not going to be easy. It's a better way to do it. 200 people attended a techno dance party in the Chernihiv region. helped to clean and rebuild a cultural center hit by a rocket during the Russian occupation hidden in March. It's like, think of it as Burning Man, but not a stupid waste of time. And if you could find a more sort of Ukrainian-looking woman, I'd except for the red hair, I guess. She looks like she's Scottish and from space. Yeah, there's the first Black Sea grain ships likely this week. Again, the biggest problem with grain shipments out of there is not going to be the crop this year. I mean, it's definitely difficult, but it's going to be worse. I'm going to check in with the chat. Welcome to HAL Sparks Mornings Mega Worldwide. Like and subscribe. Give a thumbs up. Support the show in any way that you can. If you're on Twitch, don't forget to resubscribe if you haven't subscribed in a while. You can do it with, yeah, she did look like a young Tori Amos. I totally see that. Snow can wait. I forgot my mittens. Wipe my nose. Put my new boots on. I get a little warm in my heart when I think of winter. Put my hands in my father's clothes. It's one of the saddest choruses ever. When you gonna make up your mind? When you gonna love you as much as I do? When you gonna make up your mind? 'Cause things are gonna change so fast. Although I don't... Oh, thanks, Alan, for the Venmo. Appreciate that. And, of course, there was... somebody was saying check Cash App as well. Where's it? How do I... Where are you? Marcia, thank you so much. And Coretta, thank you so much on Friday. Bless you. And Andrea, yes, thank you for the coffee for me and Summer. I showed her that and you made her smile. Countertenor, yeah. All the white horses are still in bed. You tell me that you'll always want you near. I say that things change, my dear. It's such a great line. I tell you that you'll always want me near. You say that things change, my dear. Ouch. Fuck. Linda Carter, yes, she did turn 71 yesterday, and I still have a crush on her. There you go. Somebody needs to play the piano. It's true. I wish I could play even remotely as closely as good as she does. Robert, thank you so much. HalCon will have a sing-along night. Absolutely. I insist. We need to have another one of those. Yeah, I love Cornflake Girl. I mean, that I got into. I mean, I love her B-sides and stuff. Oh, yeah. And if I died today, I'd be the happy phantom. Yep, that's such a great. I mean, I like her songs about condiments. She has a song called Honey and another one called Sugar. When she does those, she makes like the jokes about how many songs she has about condiments. I collected the B-side CDs she would release in England for a good long while. Yeah, I'd have to straddle the piano bench. Now she sings playing two ways. The woman is she's just sex. Have you ate at Jinya Ramen Bar on Decatur? Yes. I have indeed. We've ordered from there during COVID. Is sugar a condiment? I think so. If you sprinkle it on there, if you add it to something after the fact, it's a condiment. No guitar nearby? Yes, but I don't know any Tori Amos songs on guitar. I should learn some, though. COVID caught a case of Mansion. Hey, I'd like to remind everybody that as much as we've been hating on Mansion, Even normal shit, which we take for granted, can't pass without his vote because he's sick. We have 48 Democrats. 48. Who sprinkles sugar on stuff? Bakers. Yeah, and if he dies, he's replaced with a Republican or a farther right Democrat, if possible. What they'll try to do is get they'll get somebody who they can put in as a Democratic rep because he'll say he's a registered Democrat, and then he'll change parties and give the Senate. I mean, fucking TYT was saying last week that like the Democrats should kick Manchin and Sinema out of the party. Hey, dumbass, that gives the Senate to the Republicans. They don't even have to earn it. He's vaxxed. He's definitely vaxxed. He's fine. He's just isolating. I'll see you in DC at the meet and greet. That's awesome. He's not running, Steve. I mean, he's running from an indictment. Sure. Would you sing Endless Love? Sure. Let's see. Keep scrolling down. We'll grab some. A lot of it's about the grain stuff today because that is the big crucial part. And then you'll find the stories kind of loop during the day. Yeah. Scroll. See, we'll get to the latest updates. Then we go to okay. And I don't know why. I mean, this has got to be some sort of whatever. Oh, Lauren Bober is saying Sodom and Gomorrah stuff. All right. Yeah, it's true. The Lot offered his daughters to the groups of men, like, just rape my kids, but leave me alone. And that was the guy that worth saving. Is that where they're holding the 2024 DNC convention? Har. I don't know. Why don't you turn around and take a look? See, children to recognize their trans identity, yet many nurseries and schools teach a binary understanding of pre-assigned gender. Because this is some Sodom and Gomorrah stuff. Is that why it's Stonewall UK? Stonewall, the UK branch has got a lot of problems because they're, there's a lot bigger issues with that crowd than just like kids as young as 2 also think they're cats. Please. But that's where this stuff is coming from. LGBT inclusive and affirmation education is crucial for the well-being of all young people. Teach a binary understanding of pre-assigned gender. Because they're teaching them to go to the potty. They're barely potty trained. They are having them. Has nothing to do with their gender. It is their physical sex at that age. They're trying to move them from diapers to toilet autonomy. Again, it's not the same thing as adults. It just isn't. No, Walking Dead is still on. She is a Nazi. That's a who's is that a love song on Kid Rock's new album? Is that why it's trending? She's got a way about her. She's a Nazi. Marjorie as a Christian nationalist. In other words, she's a Nazi. It's not the same thing. Yeah, she's been doing this. I'm a Christian and I'm a nationalist. and I think Christian I would serve everyone. This is the same shit that Marie Le Pen pushed in Germany. This is where she's borrowing this from. This might as well just be translated from the Marie Le Pen stuff. All, by the way, boosted by Russia to try and make it look like it's a legit force within the electorate. So, I mean, exactly. Every single opportunity. And I mean, we are like what, 3 months basically from the election, and these fuckers are toying around with, the Democrats are the problem, man. Get the fuck out of here. Dean Marie and Clarence Thomas, more than likely. Hashtag Trump treason is trending. The Midas guys. Liz Cheney and Adam can say Secret Service agents won't testify. They refuse to, or they're not going to. Oh, look at this. Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger are the only two Republicans on the special House committee investigating the Jan 6 riots. Indicated on separate Sunday morning news shows that the Secret Service agents have been relatively uncooperative. Kinzinger specified that the committee wants agents to testify under oath, but they have been unwilling to do so thus far. I thought they were all going to Cassidy Hutchinson's full of shit, and I'll testify under oath. Remember that? Didn't we have to deal with a week of that shit? But they've been unwilling. When asked if the agency is refusing to cooperate, Kinzinger said that's a question you have to ask the Secret Service. You have to ask those particular people. Committee member then defended Cassidy Hutchinson, the witness who testified about Trump's actions around Secret Service members, calling her a very credible witness. As Reuters reported, Cheney went on Fox News Sunday and said that the committee is investigating missing Secret Service text messages, as well as the extent to which they have not had the kind of cooperation that we really need to have. Well, so much for the whole her story fell apart, right, Glenn Beck? Let's see. Glenn Beck. Hold on. Filters. Let's see. I like it when some of my videos actually show up in the search. Like if you search Glenn Beck and Cassidy Hutchinson, a lot of the fastest ones that are going to come up are a couple of my videos. That's nice. I mean, I've only got about 4,000 views on them. Wink, wink. But hold on. Let's see. Let's see. Glenn Beck. Secret Service. Let's do this month. Why is it not primary going on Glenn Beck? I have to go down here. I remember that one. We'll say with the.
Can we bring that picture up?
Shut up. I need to find the. Let's see. You are funding the loans. Let me see. Because how long ago was it? Was it 3 weeks? Let's see. Yeah. Let's. I'll have to scroll back. I'm running back through the. I mean, the videos in these things are fucking hilarious. We've done a couple of these things over. Soros targets Rave, emotions. I wouldn't doubt it if since then she's pro-life center bomb, inflation optimism, real reason progressive bad phase in the war. Like there's so much of this fucking garbage. I remember Glenn's solar panel problem. We covered that. Okay, so it was after this. Your town isn't safe. Third world beating America? 5 stages of economic grief. Biden reveals his true belief on our failing dollar. Look, we missed Cowboy Glenn. We missed Cowboy Sore Throat book reading Glenn Beck. Gaslighting us. Funding abortion is the biggest story of the year. The stock market meltdown is the biggest story of the year a month ago. Ammo ban, we did that one. You can see the ones, anything that has a red line under it. I've either watched, like looking at what the fuck he's talking about, or we've done them on the show. Most of them are the ones we've done on the show. It's coming next after row. The plan to transform, liberty to the Supreme Court, but draw red laws, America, to Biden can't America still goodbye to big midterms. To rig the midterms. Credit card for sure, want to do where Hunter where empowerment is coming, abortion act, inflation, taxation. It's absolute evil. They're destroying our history. Learning from Glenn's first death threat. Don't threaten anybody's life. Just saying. Don't harm anyone. Don't physically take up arms against anybody who isn't already taking up arms against you. If you're defending yourself, it's a totally different thing. But this idea that somehow you're fighting an idea war with weapons is, not having it. I think they bounced it. I think they took the, it looks like they deep sixed the video about her. Right? These are the clips. These are the ones they post. Huh. Interesting. Let's see. Yeah, here's this is Ben Shapiro's Dems bombshell witness flops worse than Watergate.
So the line.
I got it. More. My following part is more reports surface of pushback coming from the U.S. Secret Service and other individuals. Shapiro reacts. You might want to take a page out of Glenn Beck's book, Ben, and bounce this one. Oh, Gonzo's there. Hey. Oh, and a few seconds. Central Scrutinizer, thank you for the bits. Yes, my channel is somewhat demonetized. Yes, I get cut down to half because I swear. How about Reality Winner? Just saw her story. Yeah, I posted about that. I am as pro Reality Winner as I am anti Edward Snowden. She did what she did as a true whistleblower for the benefit of the country. I think she recognized it was a crime and did the time to make her point. I believe she's worthy of a pardon. She's out, so I think it will happen at the end of Biden's presidency. It is not going to negatively affect her ability to get work or other stuff because more than likely she's going to make money doing speaking fees as people understand that. So I will say that. Stocks are up, gas is down, airlines are booked. Where's the recession? Fox News keeps talking about, by the way. Love you, HAL and Sparklers. Thank you, LMAC 1969. Thank you so much for that super chat. Alan, thank you for the super chat. Yeah, David Warner passed away from The Omen and from Lady Hawk and, what you call it? I'm blitzing on the period film. He's done a bunch of them. He's just such a great actor. Tron, yes. Yeah, David Warner passed. He was 80. Yeah. Recession is still coming. The slower the better. Well, yeah, that's the thing. We'll be a slight recession. We had a recession in February of 2020. Remember that? It was going to be bigger, but it got eaten by COVID. Stargal, thank you for the gifted subs as well. I appreciate that. Yeah, Doc Spano's been a Prime member for a month, or for 12 months in a row. That this is his final month to a full year. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. At the very least, give the show a follow, pass it around, like and subscribe, all that kind of stuff. The easy free stuff helps us out immensely. You can become a member on YouTube. You can become a member on Facebook. You can become a subscriber on Twitch. If you have Amazon Prime, that doesn't cost you a dime. And of course, you can always become a Patreon supporter, which is a great way to take care of our show until we have a giant studio and I do stupid, manscaping ads while reading from a laptop. This is one of my favorite Ben Shapiro shows, though. Ben stares at his laptop like a yammering dude at a coffee shop. And I don't know. Would you like, sir, if you're not going to order something, people want that table. That's basically the show. It's him just looking at his laptop screen. Get a fucking teleprompter, you dick. You got a screen behind you. Put what you're watching on the screen behind you so people can see it, and then put the content of it in a teleprompter in front of you so that you can see it. You lazy bastard. I thought you guys were, bootstrap 1% a day, excel because you deserve to excel because you work harder than everybody else. For fuck's sake. Right? Just the laziness of it. Sorry, did I super chat? Oh, thanks, Gonzo. Oh, fear not, Gonzo, and I look forward to seeing you in DC. That's going to be great. September 10th, I will be in DC for the Sexy Liberal show. I might even be in the White House. Spoiler alert. I doubt I'll be able to do my show from there because the swearing will put some of the people off. There's been a moratorium on as many F-bombs as I do in my show since Trump lost. You guys remember when he lost? Remember when Trump lost? And you're like, which time? I'm like, I know. Good Lord. Canadian ski resort locked down after 2 shot dead in broad daylight. One of the world's most celebrated ski resorts put on lockdown after 2 men were shot dead on Sunday. The Canadian town of Whistler near Vancouver. We saw alleged local gangster Maninder Dhaliwa and his friend Sat Gill gunned down. The incident happened in the village out in the open. Police have not yet determined if this incident was recently a recently located burned car related, or if they're related to ongoing gang conflict. 2 people were reportedly arrested in connection with the shooting, which witnesses described as taking place near the Sundial Hotel. They also said Whistler was put on lockdown for several hours after the shots rang out. It was with his brother Harb last year when Harb was shot dead by a hitman outside a nightclub in Vancouver. It would be Canadian, like Canadian Chicago has to happen on a fucking ski slope. Amongst, by the way, Indian Canadians. Of course. Former GOP congressman made hundreds of thousands of dollars on insider. Phil, what do you know? Who would that be? Who would that be? Including a former Indiana congressman, a one-time FBI agent in training, and an ex-Goldman Sachs banker. Walk into a bar. Prosecutors allege that Stephen Buyer, what a name, a Republican who represented Indiana from 1993 to 2011, traded on confidential information from 2 of his consulting business clients, earning at least $349,000. Bloomberg reported that the FBI trainee, Seth Markin, allegedly made $1.4 million after secretly rifling through his then-girlfriend's classified work files. Ooh, shit. Rajesh Goel, who worked at Goldman Sachs for multiple years and eventually became a vice president, allegedly passed insider tips to his squash pal. Squash. It's the new golf. Prosecutors say that his squash court companion traded based on that privileged information and shared the profits from goal. The problem was on the squash court, it echoed through the whole health club and everybody knew. Everybody at the health club made $1 million. Hey, Liberal Dan, what's happening? Yes, good point. Make sure you're in live chat, not top chat, and in YouTube, so that you can see your posts. Excellent point. I tried this TikTok pink cleaning paste. It really, oh God. The pink stuff. Isn't that what they make McDonald's burgers out of? Boff, boff. Texas Republican threatened lawyers with prosecution and disbarment if they facilitate abortions. Texas, you know, where freedom rings. Yeah, there he is, David Warner. I mean, great work. Great character actor. Classic. I mean, a perennial 80s both villain and... I mean, he had that kind, like the British villain. He had that nailed. Let's see. Let's see. He was 80 years old. He had a prolific cancer. A prolific career. Cancer. The Manchester-born actor. I was reading the bottom part at the top part. Saying, over the past 80 months, he approached the diagnosis with a characteristic grace and dignity. He'll be missed hugely by us, his family, and friends. Okay, where's the? The diagnosis. Oh, cancer-related illness. That's where it is. Okay. Bless his heart. This neck relaxer is the next best thing to a chiropractor. Uh-oh. Might need it. My pinched nerve is finally healed in my neck, but I had to stretch my neck to do it. I'm quite seriously considering one of those things you stick on your back that shock you if you slouch. Biden's doc says his COVID symptoms are nearly gone. Yes, but is he signing blank pieces of paper? And then is he going to go for a ride and wave at supporters before he walks up a flight of stairs and looks like he's about to vomit? I mean, you get used to something, and sure, it's ridiculous, but it's the evil you know. Remember, like, Trump's return, his triumphant return? I'll take the stairs. You never take the stairs. Good point. Now I know why. At 79, Biden is the oldest sitting president. Right. He had body aches and a sore throat. Tested positive on Thursday. Still isolating at the White House, working remotely. Signed an aid package on climate stuff. Pope Francis apologized to Canadian Indigenous leaders for decades of abuse. I didn't even know he lived there. Homeless people targeted in Canadian mass. Jesus Christ. You guys remember when I said this a while back that the sort of lax rules about street camping were going to lead to more of these like weird psychos to take it out on homeless people? That on the one hand, you're like, you're criminalizing homelessness by not letting them live there. And they can't, like, look, we need shelters. And then if people have the means and wherewithal and they can't afford a city, do what the rest of us do. Move to a cheaper city before you fall through the cracks. And the people who can get back, every possible help it should be there for them. Every person who has a mental disorder should be able to be institutionalized and medicated in some way that's consistent, so that they don't just, as soon as they leave the place, they don't take their meds anymore, and then they fall off down the same problem. That's cruel. That's not supportive. But this is something that's been, there was a guy in Detroit. There was a dude, I want to say he was in Florida. Was it Miami or Tampa we saw last year, who was a real estate guy. Yeah, this dude. This guy, hold on. Video captures real estate agent turned serial killer shooting sleeping homeless man. He had wounded a couple of others, but he was basically just walking around shooting homeless people. There's going to be a reckoning of the number of deaths around this, and it's why we need to solve this. It's why we need to. We see those people. We get trolls. They start showing up. That's a good sign. Police have arrested a man accused of shooting multiple homeless people and killing at least one in Langley, Canada on Monday morning. 2 emergency alerts were issued. The first alert specifies shooting. Police had interacted with one suspect, whom they described as a white male. Authorities think that the suspect acted alone and the attack was targeted. Though gun violence and mass shootings are much rarer in Canada and the U.S., Monday's incident comes just one day after 2 people were shot in Whistler. Yeah, again, our conversations about gun violence needs to be about the cause as well, especially in Canada. I mean, kind of like, you guys don't have an epidemic of gun violence. Oh, look at that. It's almost like they were hanging out. You have to treat the cause of it, not just the methodology. Joe Manchin, the Democratic Senator from West Virginia, announced that he tested positive for COVID. The 74-year-old senator is, according to a statement posted on Twitter, fully vaccinated, boosted. He's experiencing mild symptoms, plans to work remotely as he isolates. Manchin's positive test comes to see in public eye for thwarting Democrats' legislative plans yet again. He just wants to separate the insulin bill from the climate bill, and everybody else thinks that they can only pass the climate bill if the insulin part is in it, and he's not going to sign on to that until he looks at the inflation numbers, and that's he might sign on to it. That's what he said, but he won't do it until we see whether inflation starts to come down, or we shouldn't do that because it's going to be an infusion of cash. And he still buys into the Volcker Fed idea that Powell and everybody else seems to believe, that we have that there's too much money in the system, and that's what's causing inflation, which is bullshit. But he's not alone in that thought. And then Murkowski said that too. Okay. Budget retinol. All right. 6th defendant in Central Park 5 rape case set to be exonerated. Overlooked 6th co-defendant set to have conviction relating to the case overturned on Monday, the 89 case. Age 15, child plead guilty to robbery. Good, all right. Not only is that a good sign from a point of view of justice, it also, we can all rest assured that Trump woke up extra angry this morning. Not that he really gives a shit about the woman who was sexually assaulted or the merits of the case or any of that stuff, but that he spent money on that full-page ad. And right. Thieves robbed pastor of 500 jewels during live stream church service. Well, you're wearing $400,000 in jewels during a church service. A New York City pastor with a taste for luxury goods says he's doing fine after being robbed in the middle of a live stream service on Sunday. Bishop Lamar Whitehead speaking at the Leaders of Tomorrow International Ministries in Canarsie when 3 masked gunmen suddenly storm in. All right. Uh-oh. Does anybody know where Matthew McConaughey is? So if we're dropping to the ground on his hands and knees, he said it, not them. Okay. The armed robbers stole $400K worth of jewelry before making their getaway. $400K worth of jewelry. $400,000 worth of $400,000 on your person. Good times. So one of the new pieces that came out, and then we'll finish up because it's 11 o'clock already, and I'll see you guys this afternoon for the regular show. January 6th released Trump's notes on this speech that he was going to give on the 7th. This is him scratching out stuff. This is his Sharpie. You'll recognize it from extending hurricanes farther than they can actually go. He didn't want to say good afternoon. Definitely don't say good afternoon. I mean, come on. I would like to begin today. He took out today because yesterday's hard, but today can be equally as bad, especially the todays he was having at the time. I'm outraged and sickened by the violence. Again, I would like to remind everybody, outrageous or outraged are bullshit puffery, because you can be outraged that your plan didn't succeed. You can be outraged at accusations, whether they're true or not, by the violence, lawlessness, and mayhem. Obviously, the Antifa ones, his folks, that wasn't lawlessness, violence, and mayhem. That was Americans who believed that their election was stolen. We love you. You're very special. Now cut my balls. I immediately deployed the National Guard and the federal law enforcement to secure the building and expel the intruders. That's not true at all. Immediately, 3 hours into attack, well after everyone had requested them, crying for help, immediately. I mean, in the span of like how long it took the earth to cool and amino acids to form protein bonds, I would say that's immediately. America is and must always be a nation of law and order. Law and order, get your grass in order. The demonstrators who infiltrated the Capitol have defiled the seat of American democracy. I am directing the Department of Justice to ensure that all lawbreakers are prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. We must send a clear message, not with mercy, but with justice, in all caps. Legal consequences must be swift and firm. Yeah, no, absolutely not. His people need to be cut loose. To those who engage in acts of violence and destruction, I want to be very clear. You do not represent me. You do not represent our movement. He said the movement line, and then they ended up not. Did he end up? I forget what the final version said after all this time. You do not represent our country, and if you broke the law, you will pay. That's why I said took the belong in jail part out, hence the MTG fight back. And then we've just been through an intense election, and emotions are intense. We had a rigged election. You're very upset. I am too. But now tempers must be cooled and calm restored. We must get on with the business of America. He didn't say any of that shit. He didn't cross it out, but he didn't say it. My campaign vigorously pursued every legal avenue to contest the election results. Right. I want you to want me. Wait, what? Why is that even hard? That's Robin Gibb writing the Bee Gees' first synth record. Hey, look, it's me doing my own show. Took some calls this morning with man's best coworker. All right, this beats the shit out of. Hold on, Trump. Now, I know what some of you are going to say, how this is incredibly unfair of you to do this. Here's Trump when he was pretending to work, and a couple of seconds later, let's see, these were they looked at the metadata of these photos, and they were taken like 3 minutes apart or some shit. Because they just went, let's go to this room. I'll take a picture here. We'll go to this room, and I'll take a picture here. It looked like I'm working all over the place. I'll just take my jacket off and leave that, and then I'll put the jacket on the thing like I've been working all day, and it'll look like a couple of different days just in case they have to put me on a ventilator. I'm not going to die. I remember he was panicking. And he's signing blank paper. This is way better. I mean, obviously the dog is CG and gigantic, but gotta love a perspective trick. But, yeah. Oh, right. Nerd Halen shot. Yeah, that was a hot drop, no warm up. Those pants wouldn't go any further. I'll get my full rotation over I'm not going to be able to do like the turn anytime soon. Because I'm not going to grind my nuts with denim but very Nerd Halen. I mean, this is Nerd Halen as we can get. And I got to admit, this shot is a little more David Lee Roth Skyscraper. If anybody remembers, Yankee Rose or any of those where he would like slide up the microphone, right? Yeah, the Levi squeeze. I mean, yes, we kick ass, but it's also a comedy show. Yes. Bull, I'd pull a muscle. Well, I'd pull something. I'd dislodge something. Those are stretch denims. Just there's not enough stretch denim for that. I literally have this little like one of those triangle patches in these jeans, so you can go down farther. Are you and Summer planning on having kids, Al Sparks? We're a little past that point. I do need spandex, although that would be less nerd and more Halen. Just saying. What? Why would Biden go get oil for America when America is okay, but Europe is suffering because of the war in Ukraine? No man been reporting that at all. All the American MSM news is lying to the American people about Biden's trip to the Middle East and Saudi Arabia. Yeah, the idea that Russia resumes Nord Stream natural gas. A lot of them are talking about it like the oil is going to come here. It's not. It's going to Europe. I mean, we see a shit ton of that stuff. Isn't that from the old ones? Yeah, that's the. Yeah. Yeah, that's the old prednisone dance. That's what. Yeah. Yeah, that's the yeah. Scoot Coot. Yeah, this is the dude that they're looking at trading the character that Nick Cage played in this movie in Lord of War. That's the person that they're looking at trading for Brittany Griner and the other spy. Yeah. Everything again is the 49th parallel. Jesus land, Rio Grande. Okay, knock it off, guys. The whole like Christo-fascist going to take over the country and turn it into some sort of like puritanical like Quaker land. It's not going to happen. Bullshit. Fox News suggests Kathy Ocho is inciting violence by sending emails about upcoming public events featuring Lee Zeldin. First of all, Zeldin's attacker was released by a DA that is a member of his own campaign staff. The DA that he says probably going to release him without bail, released the guy without bail, and that woman, that DA, is a co-chair of his campaign. Good Lord. This is filth. Jay, you are so poetic. Let freedom bang. Oh, dear God. What's on the arm, though? Can't. Do we see what the... Nope. 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 I can't. Something I'll see, I'll know, whatever. I don't know. Anyways, I'm always curious about people's little written tattoos after the fact. I actually call myself a Christian nationalist. That's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. I don't care what she calls herself. She represents a podunk district in Georgia. Yeah, see, there you go. I mean, Oh, this was the. By the way, normally when I do the jump splits, I do the foot tap, which is. But then I was looking at a picture of David from like one of the album covers, and he's doing his hands down so he can look up. So I was like, oh, I'll do that. And so that's there you go. Yeah. So there, and still these risers, I need like, I have like 2 inches to stand before I jump from there. So like half my foot is off the fucking riser. So I don't get more true to the optic. I agree. Yes, those are new shoes. Well, they're old shoes. I just had them for a while. They're light reflective, so I thought in some of the photos they might show up or something. But yeah. That's pretty solid. But I was like, at least my face will be up for this. And Steel Panther rules. I agree. Do you have a trampoline? I do not. That's just a straight jump off the riser. Which for all the and I'm going over again, aren't I? It's a Midwestern goodbye. One foot looks way bigger. I think it's because of the rotation, but it's not technically. Also, that's my foot, not that. That right there is. Hold on. This is my foot, not that. That's Jeff's head. Yeah, and here's the mic stand. That's how high I'm jumping. So there's the height of it. So it is a pretty good jump. Prince was in a lot of pain in his later years from stage antics. I am in Prince's later years. Just saying. And a bunch of his stuff, he would do slides and hot drops. This is a kick up. This is different than landing on the floor, which puts pressure on your joints. Like dropping to the splits fast is more difficult on you than jump splits because your legs will only go as far as they can go. Did I land on my feet? Of course I landed on my feet. Prince was a virtual dust moth. That's true. That's an impressive leap for a 30-year-old. Thank you. I will be 53 in September. My workout's paying off. You think so? Yeah, definitely. How long till HAL is splitting through all sorts of pics, fan project? Yeah, right. Just like cutting me out and putting me in places. How'd you get that high? I jumped off the riser. That's what David Lee Roth would do. He'd go over and jump off the riser specifically during jump. I did it like 4 times during jump in a row. I just ran up and jumped and ran up and jumped and ran up and jumped and ran up and jumped as a joke. And then earlier in the show, during one of the big finishes, I did it. Thanks, Gonzo. Yes, vote blue no matter who. Well done. And on that note, I will leave you guys and I will see you this afternoon. This is HAL Sparks Mornings Mega Worldwide. It's an easier, laid-back show. I would like to say hello, if I may, to someone who might be joining us in the audience. It's good talking to you, sir, this weekend. It's very nice having a long discussion with you. If you're going to watch the afternoon show, I'll say it again then. Anyways. Thanks, Sarah. There you go. So take care of yourself. Take care of somebody else. Thank you guys for the support, the love, the ongoing stuff. Gonzo, thank you. What's your prediction on the Dems keeping the House? They're going to. Dems are going to keep the House and improve their position in the Senate. And we will have Walker and Vance to thank for it largely. So more on that later. So anyways, take care of yourself. I'll talk about this later on this afternoon. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. You guys are wonderful. Thanks so much. Have a beautiful day. Also, I mean, it's a Monday, so I can't do much. But yeah, as good as you can on a Monday. This isn't half bad. As Mondays go, this isn't half bad. Well, yeah, we'll talk about the Tim Ryan thing later. It's great. Absolutely. Please check your Discord DM. Important. Okay, I will do, Andrea. Thank you. Okay, bye, everybody. See you later.